Call to order North Fair Oaks Community Council meeting. And my name is Linda Lopez. We only have actually 2 members tonight. So if that's the case, I'm going to tell you up front that we will not be able to take any action on any item. And please, there are agendas at the back table. We're going to proceed with the meeting, but I'm just letting you know ahead of time. And also, there are speaker slips at the back table. Make sure you fill them out, and you can bring them directly up to me. Let's do a roll call. Rafael Avendano is on his honeymoon. Laura Kaplan, absent. Beatrice Cirillo, absent. Jenny Corral, leave of absence. Noreta Guzman, leave of absence. Dale Miller, absent. Esperanza Vasquez, absent. And John Schott?
Present.
Present. All right.
I'm here.
Oh, okay, here we go. So Esperanza Vasquez, present. I will go, I only have 2 slips. There's a lot of people. I want to go ahead and start with public comment. And thank you, Nancy. Try to keep these in order. And if I may ask, whoever did fill out a slip, go ahead up to the podium. And you're going to have 2 minutes to make your comments. And we'll start with, is it Mr. Robinson? I just have Robinson on here. Mr. Robinson from Waverly Avenue, North Fair Oaks. Yeah, sure, that's fine.
Oh, okay. Well, my name's Kenneth Robinson, and we live 3101 Waverly, which would be right beside this development. And me and my wife both are not very much in favor of this at all, because they'd be right next to us, and I don't have too much to say other than we're against it.
Was that it, Mr. Robinson?
Pardon?
I'm sorry. Oh, so you're finished then?
Yes.
Oh, okay. You have more time, but okay. Thank you so much. Okay, Diana, ready?
Good evening, Madam Chair and council members. I'm Diana Reddy. I'm a Redwood City resident and a community builder working for a Housing Leadership Council in San Mateo County. I'm very in the next few weeks, the council is going to have an opportunity to recommend to the County Planning Commission the Waverly property that Mr. Robinson was just mentioning. And I want to let you know that I support and urge you to recommend this project to the Planning Commission. I know that in many communities, there's a stigma around mental health issues, and I just wanted to make the comment that these are our brothers and sisters and our sons and daughters who did not come from a loving home that was able to support them through either their mental health or their issues with addiction. And they became homeless as a result of not having that network of support, and found a family and a network of support through the Mental Health Association and its coalition of partners in the county. The individuals who will be given the opportunity to live at this and other very successful facilities all through San Mateo County, are very thoroughly screened. And they have already made a commitment to their own health. And so the Mental Health Association has worked with these people for months and in some cases a year, 2 years, and they have already established themselves as wanting to be healthy. The bottom line is that the Mental Health Association does not want to make any mistakes, and they have zero instances of having any issues in any of their properties. And the
Diana, I'm sorry, your time is up.
Okay, just one last thing. And the residents themselves do not want to give up their homes. So this is really important to them to be good residents, good neighbors to everyone.
Thank you very much. Marco? Is it, I'm sorry, is Marco here?
Yes.
Okay. Oh, Marco Aguirre.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had a hard time reading that.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm here in behalf of my son,
Oh, okay.
and we live in 20 Columbia Avenue for 20 years. And the proposal, we will not agree with the planning that it's on right now. So we're against the plan.
The plan, okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. Marco
thank
couldn't
you.
make it, I guess, huh? Okay. Hector, Laura?
Buenas noches.
Buenas noches.
Ahora voy a tener a una persona que me ayude a traducir lo que voy a decir. Yo tengo 34 años viviendo en esa residencia que está exactamente detrás de ese edificio donde el desarrollo se quiere llevar a cabo.
I've been living for 34 years directly behind where this development will be built.
En estos 34 años no he visto ninguna mejoría para nuestros vecindarios.
During these 34 years, I've not experienced any good things for our neighborhood.
Tenemos ya el problema de estacionamiento de los negocios que tenemos alrededor.
We have lots of parking problems from the businesses that surround our area.
Gente que usa el área para cruzar de área a área y también de los negocios como la vinatería.
People walk through our neighborhood, crossing from one side to the other.
Y yo creo que esto no nos vendría a nosotros en el vecindario, agregaría más el problema, lo haría más fuerte.
And I don't believe that this development will help to improve our neighborhood, that it will just make it worse.
No tengo nada en contra de estas personas, pero si toman en consideración que traten de buscar otro lugar más apropiados para ellos, porque ahí no es un lugar tranquilo tampoco para ellos.
I don't have anything against the people that will be living there, but this is not a good place for this building to go, and they should look for another place to build it.
Hasta ahorita es todo lo que tengo que decir. Muchas gracias.
Okay, gracias. Thank you. Lily?
Okay, hi, my name is Lily Curincita. I'm gonna try to speak English. Okay, I'm against that problem, against that build, because I'm living over there since 10 years ago, but we have a really bad problem with the parking. All the time I'm fighting. Also, if we have this building over there, we are going to have employees over there who need parking, family member who's going to go and see the families. I understand and I respect that they are could be our parents, brothers, sisters. I understand that one, but also I understand that when they have with that kind of mental health, if they refuse to take the medicine, there's no law that they are going force them to take them. I know that one really, really good because I'm work close to one area like that, and I know how people came over there. Either one of them, they cut themselves, another one is going to contaminate because he's going to see how the neighbor or the friend is doing, and in order to get the attention is going to make the same thing. And I really, I'm against that one because I have my daughter, my children, and we have some people sometimes who go in the middle of the night, they knock the door because they have the same problem. And, you know, we cannot do anything. Even the police, they cannot do anything because if they don't want to take the medicine.
Okay. Thank you, Lily.
Okay.
Your time is up. Thank you. Janet Davis? Excuse me, Janet, before you begin, for the record, we have Beatrice Cedillo and Del Miller present at the meeting. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes.
I have a couple of comments. I noticed in the paper today the vendor for the bike share business went into bankruptcy. So predictably, that's not going to happen. That means there's $7,500 available potentially from Prop A funds for something else. Next Tuesday is the deadline for responses to the Caltrain DEIR. And that project has some ramifications for people, especially who live along Glendale and Westmoreland. They could find some of their property taken or their trees removed. And finally, I am so sick of the county manager's office screwing up on stuff. The postcard that went out that cost 34 cents a buck, which was fully colored, two-sided, had all the wrong data on it, and that must have gone to perhaps 2,000 people. And that outfit just wastes money like nobody's business. And somebody should just crack down on this North Fair Oaks Forward publication because it has typos. It's a mess. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Janet. Okay, Fernando Chavez?
Good evening. I live at 90 Dexter, and I just wanted to comment on the mental health, the project from the Mental Health Association of San Mateo County regarding the 16-unit apartment going up at 105 Fifth Avenue. I, once again, for the record, want to state that I am opposed to this project. I don't believe it's a good fit for our neighborhood, both from a logistics venue and also just from a private residence revenue as far as the safety of the neighborhood. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Fernando. Kent Mansky?
Hi there, I'm Kent Mansky from the Selby Park neighborhood, and I am opposed to the Waverly Place development and the rezoning of that property for a project of that size and that scale. Our neighborhood is in a business corridor with Fifth Avenue and El Camino on our borders. This brings us a host of safety issues ranging from cut-through traffic to parking for all the local businesses that do not have parking lots, and the list goes on. I hope the message so far delivered to the North Fair Oaks Council via our packages and to the Board of Supervisors and to the Mental Health Association has made it quite clear the neighborhood's opposition to this project. And with understanding that this evening is not the focus of that project, but that date will be determined, I can assure you that this room will be packed, and it will be loud, and it will be passionate. And that is evident by the bonding that has occurred in the neighborhood, the deep discussions of concern, and it is my hopes that the business of the county notifying us of upcoming meetings, so on and so forth, will be a little bit more accurate. It was a little disturbing to find the public comment period cut by 25 days, and then disturbing to have it as an agenda item for this meeting and then pulled so that we could do a study. We understand that study. We look forward to participating in it fully, and thank you for your service. And I'll just conclude by saying I am opposed to this project due to the size and the scale and the impact it will have on our neighborhood.
Okay, thank you, Kent. Nancy Zaro?
Thanks, Linda. My name's Nancy Zaro. I live at 87 Columbia. And so far, and what all of my neighbors have said, the neighborhood as a whole, over 75% of the neighborhood, close to 80%, are opposed to this. We've actually taken a poll of 79 of the 72 people that were polled, homeowners. Of 79 of the polls that were taken, or homeowners, 72 were opposed to this project, and for a variety of reasons. First and foremost is the size and the scale. No matter who lives in that project, 16 apartments is way too, it's just not going to work. That street in itself is already way too narrow with people parking on either side. 2 cars cannot come through the entrance to that to our neighborhood. The neighborhood's defined by railroad tracks, El Camino, Fifth Avenue, in Berkshire, which is not a cut-through. This is not like the Woodside Plaza where it's a sprawling neighborhood. This is a very specifically defined neighborhood of 96 homes, and we're already taking the burden of all the landscaping companies where they park on the street all day and night, the day workers, they park on the street. I mean, the impact is already huge, and the letters that we've written and sent as a package, I have now another 10 letters in a second package that are going to be coming out with the finish of the poll to confirm and reconfirm the depth of how much this neighborhood cannot take this. It's not just about, it is about the mental health, especially for the families of the neighborhood, but it's also about the scale and the size and what this little neighborhood, we've already had to fight off a methadone clinic, cannabis, sale building around the corner, all in this neighborhood, and we will continue to fight this because it is not a fed. The Mental Health Association, the county did not do their homework prior to purchasing that land, and this is a very difficult situation for them to be in, and we just will voice our opinion until it's more than loud and clear about where we stand. I mean, the burden we cannot share with the community. We've already done our part with other facilities. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Any other speakers? Any other public comment? No. Okay. Public comment will close at this point. Just a small point of clarification. The supportive housing for mental health on Waverly was scheduled to be on the agenda tonight, and it was pulled off the agenda by the Mental Health Association. So, and we'll just go forward from here. Thank you everyone for your comments. Okay, next on the agenda is the approval of minutes for March 27th. Everybody have a chance to look at them? Okay.
I'll motion that we approve the minutes as written.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I would second that motion.
Okay. Any further discussion, changes? No? All those in favor of the motion to approve the March 27th minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I was absent of that meeting.
Oh, okay, so are you abstaining, SB?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention. Thank you. Today's 24th. Okay. All righty. So supervisor's report. Are you giving that today, Irving? We don't see Supervisor Slocum anymore. Oh, what happened?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's just been,
Busy?
some meetings that have been scheduled like months ago.
Okay.
So they've been actually, unfortunately, been set for these
Okay.
specific Thursdays. But for the supervisor's report, Supervisor Slocum, along with the Menlo Park Mayor, Ray Mueller, is going to be having office hours in Menlo Park this Saturday, April 26th, from 1 to 2:30 p.m. And it's going to be held at Cafe Zoe, which is located at 1929 Minalta Avenue. And this Sunday, the Redwood City Library Foundation and the Latino Community Council of Redwood City is having what's called a Grand Kermas Festival. So it's a wonderful, entertaining, fun community festival that's helped to raise funds for the children's books at the Fair Oaks Library. And so we're going to have a booth there, along with the North Fair Oaks Community Council as well, and other organizations will have booths there. Kind of just an opportunity to provide resources and information about the supervisor's office, along with the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And that festival is actually going to take place this Sunday, April 27th, from 11 a.m. to 3 o'clock p.m., actually in the parking lot here outside of the Fair Oaks Community Center. On May 3rd and 4th, cities of Belmont, Burlingame, Colma, Daly City, Foster City, Menlo Park, Millbrae, Pacifica, Redwood City, San Bruno, San Mateo, and South San Francisco will join the County of San Mateo to open up parks and streets. It's basically a program hosted by Supervisor Groom called Streets Alive, Parks Alive. And this is just an opportunity to promote public spaces in addition to promoting good health, promote our local economy, and small businesses. So you can actually check out their website. It's Streets Alive, Parks Alive. Not really sure the full address of that, but you can just Google that and it will actually just pop up there. For example, Menlo Park is actually going to be having a kite day on May 3rd. So that's, they're going to be just having kind of just like a festive event out there as well. On Saturday, May 10th, the San Mateo County Commute Alternatives Program, along with our Supervisor Slocum's office, the Sienna Youth Center, California Highway Patrol, Sheriff's Office, along with other organizations, are going to be hosting a North Fair Oaks bike rodeo, and that's going to be starting at 10 a.m. So there's actually some flyers back here if you're interested in. So I actually have the flyer here. And so this is just an opportunity to promote bike safety. There's going to be some raffle drawing, bike helmets, gift cards, and there's going to be tons of activities that are going to be out there as well. So it's going to be on Saturday, May 10th. It's just right, actually here in the Fair Oaks Community Center as well as outside as well. And yeah, it's just a fun-filled event. And then on May 17th, so a number of organizations are working together to set up what's called the Oye Conference, and basically that's a Latino youth conference. And the purpose of this conference is to motivate youth ages 12 to 22 in their community to find their purpose and passion in life, introduce the youth in the area of Redwood City and North Fair Oaks to educational, cultural, and social resources. So we're going to have like youth speakers. I'm actually one of the youth speakers. So the theme of the conference is who am I, where am I going? So basically it's just kind of just looking into like the story of a person and kind of seeing how we can help like overcome obstacles. And so there's actually going to be some youth speakers. One is actually well known as a huge environmental advocate. Is actually right now in Washington, D.C., working for the Department of Education. And yeah, we're actually going to have tons of workshops there as well. So it's going to be a very informing and enlightening event. So that's going to be on May 17th. From 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. Looks like a lot of events here for the month of May are here at the Fair Oaks Community Center. And for more information, you can actually just check out nfoforward.org. So we'll post up some information on there, as long as Supervisor Slocum's Facebook page and Twitter. We'll post up some more information as well on how to register and what you need to do. And feel free to actually even call our office, so you can contact me for more information, since I'm helping to coordinate this youth conference as well. And I think that's about it for this month's supervisor's report. So if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them.
I actually wanted, are you able to give an update on the meeting Supervisor Slocum had with the Middlefield Road Merchants?
I believe the NFO forward team is probably going to give that update,
Oh.
but if not,
Yes?
I mean,
Okay,
yeah. So they're
Okay.
going to provide that update
okay,
for
very
that.
good. All right. Thank you very much, Irving.
Thank you.
I just want to, just information to the audience that Supervisor, you may know this already, but I'm going to, just information. Supervisor Warren Slocum not only represents North Fair Oaks, he also represents Menlo Park and East Palo Alto, so his time is divided. But just so you know, we don't get him exclusively for us, but each supervisor has their own jurisdiction of who they represent, so anyway. Okay, so council member reports. Does any council member have anything they'd like to report on? Further on in the agenda, we do have the recommendations for from the committee work that we did, so I don't know. Do you have anything you want to comment on? No? Okay. All right. Sheriff's report, we have Lieutenant Reed tonight.
Good evening, council members. Thanks for having me. Just brought some stats for the last couple of months from the sheriff's office here in the North Fair Oaks area. For February, we had 2 robberies, 4 assaults, 2 burglaries, which is actually a great number. It's a bad number that there were 2 people burglarized, but those numbers are way, way down during that month. Again, running through stuff, we wrote 492 parking citations during that month. I know that parking is always an issue in the North Fair Oaks area, and my guys have been staying on it completely. In the month of March, sadly, our burglary number jumped up. However, we did arrest a burglar last week. We got a guy who was running around down in the avenues right on the Atherton border. We did a bunch of run around and picked one guy up. Wow. Some burglary tools. We didn't get him for the burglary. He was holding burglary tools and he was on probation. So we were able to scoop him up. And that's just one more off the street. And in March, we wrote 596 parking citations and towed 26 cars in March and only 11 in February. I think I had one of my guys on vacation during February is why our numbers were down a little bit. Other than that, the summer deployment will be coming up for the countywide gang task force. In May, they have a 1-week shot, and then they start the 1st of June, and they will run all the way through the middle of September, 4 days a week, usually Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. But they're also trying to flex the days a little this year because literally, after about a month of GTF being out there, the gang members know that GTF is coming out Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday.
What is that, GTF?
I'm sorry, it's the gang task force. I apologize.
Oh.
It's the countywide gang task force. And what that is every police agency in the county contributes personnel to this week-long effort. It's every week, goes for 4 weeks, and then it goes to a different phase. And they split into a north team and a south team, and obviously the north end works north of 92, the south team comes down, and they hit all the hot spots. If Redwood City's having a problem with a certain area, the gang task force can focus on that. If we're having a certain problem in the North Fair Oaks area, I can ask them, and they'll come in and spend a night or 2 down here, kind of just really doing some high-profile, high-saturation work. And that'll run throughout the summer. Again, the sheriff's office is heavily involved in that. This Saturday is the more work on Friendship Park over on Huntington. The sheriff's office jail planning unit, along with several other units, will be out there continuing the good work on Friendship Park. So if anybody wants to come out and volunteer, please don't hesitate. I believe it starts about 8:30 on Saturday morning. So come out and they're going to spread some gravel and kind of finish that park up, I think, and get it all squared away completely.
Going back to the gang task force.
Yes, ma'am.
Thing, what does that mean for non-gang members in the community? Does that mean that we're going to, no, or what are we looking at? More cars out there, more, how's that going to impact the community?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, yes. What you'll see is
sounds-
you might see Belmont police officer riding with a Redwood City police officer in the North Fair Oaks area. Because maybe Redwood gave a guy one body that night and Belmont gave a body that. So the team, there may be 8 or 10, but you might see a Belmont police car go by with a Belmont guy and a Redwood City guy in it, working in the North Fair Oaks area. They're part of the team. Is this answering your question?
Is there going to be like more helicopter
No, there's no
action?
helicopter. I'm sorry, we don't
That's, I'm trying to get an idea of
Right,
what.
it's just a higher saturation, to
Yeah.
be more law enforcement personnel in the North Fair Oaks area for those 4 nights.
Oh, okay.
So if you're a gang member, it means that you're going to be probably talked to and worked with. And if you're not a gang member, then it's not an issue. Shouldn't be
Okay.
if you're doing bad things, then we will ask you to stop doing bad things.
And I'm confused with your parking citation numbers. First, you said 492, which is up from last month, I think.
I have February and March, ma'am.
Oh, okay, so the
February-
596 is your March statistic.
Yes, 492 was February,
Oh, so 596 is March?
and 596 is March.
So
I
it's-
actually corrected this because my stat cal had put 838 as a total, and I was like, wow, that's great, but it was bad math.
So it's up
Yes,
from
ma'am.
February.
We went up during March.
And I think I ask this at every meeting. The majority of those are due to people not moving their cars during street sweeping? Is
A
that
big chunk
correct?
of them are, but we're also trying to concentrate a little bit of enforcement on Middlefield Road, enforcing the parking regulation there. It's 2-hour limits and the
okay.
different, and we're always in a quandary with the businesses on Middlefield Road. The restaurant, or if I own a restaurant, I want that car to have to move every 2 hours because that's a new customer that can come into my restaurant. But if I own the body shop next door, I might need to park a car there for a few hours while I'm shuffling and doing work. You see what I mean? So on both sides, we kind of try to balance it out and work as well as we can with the community. But the bottom line is that it's 2-hour parking or whatever it is. So if we mark, then 2 hours later, it gets a tag. And it can't get a tag in an hour and a half because we marked 2 hours ago. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does.
So, but we're actually stepping up our enforcement on Middlefield Road a little bit, working with the North Fair Oaks Forward people and I know they're going to talk about it. There's a couple meetings coming up that the sheriff's office will be at as well with North Fair Oaks Forward.
Great. Counsel, Beatrice, you have a question?
My question is, when the street sweeping happens, and a car fails to move it, have the car moved, so that it can be cleaned, the street sweeper will go around and continue, so that area remains filthy. So that's another month of having that filth there. And is there so if that same car is there on the subsequent month, is that same citation fee? Or is that car kind of recognized like habitual?
Well, my hope is that if a car is sitting there for 30 days, that either my guys have recognized it or somebody in the neighborhood has called in and said, hey, this car's been sitting here for 30 days. We'll put a tag on it, and 72 hours later, we'll tow it, and we'll get it out of there. So that's, that is our biggest help for us, is if there's a car sitting on your street that has been sitting there for a week or 2 weeks, give us a call, and we'll tag it, and we'll tow it out of there so that we don't get into that position where the same car's sitting there for 3 or 4 months. We don't want that. We want to move it out and get the street clean and get the abandoned cars off the street. That's always what we're focusing on. Does that answer your question, ma'am?
Yeah, I have some concerned neighbors that seem to always have cars in front of their place on street sweeping day. They're not necessarily their own cars. There's others that happen to be there overnight and happen to be there on that morning. And there's like, as long as there's cars present, that area is not getting cleaned.
Yes, ma'am.
And it may be different cars, but it just so happens that there's always a car or some cars there. So, okay.
How long are you going to continue with the people who issue the tickets doing this? Because prior to this month, or the last couple of weeks, I have not seen any movement of the cars. It helps a lot.
Uh,
The-
I'm s- I'm sorry, I don't understand your question.
I have seen, because I'm on Middlefield, so
Mhm.
I've seen a lot of parking space now,
Okay.
but the last couple of weeks only. Prior
Mhm.
to that, I have not seen any citations being enforced.
And your question is, how long are we going to continue to do
Right,
that?
yes.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, and it's hard to say, but we have been enforcing it up through now. I've asked my guys to focus on that, and we're going to continue on. It's an issue in the community. It's something that the council addressed that everybody says is a problem, and so this is what we're going to do. We're going to focus on that and continue to until we either solve the problem or we just continue to do it.
Well,
Is that a reasonable, does that answer your question?
Yes, it does.
Very good.
Because I have seen more parking in front of the businesses, and that's good for the businesses.
Sure,
So,
sure.
Now, the 2-hour parking, are you going to give more lead on the, let's say, mechanic places and 2-hour parking, or are you going to treat them both, 2 hours each?
2 hours is 2 hours, and that's all we can do. And that's why we kind of run into that issue that, the body shop, it hurts that guy for 2 hours, but the restaurant having to wait 2 hours or 3 hours because it parked and then an hour later, my guy
2
marked
hours,
it,
am I right?
then it does. So it kind of balances out, but it's that catch-22 that we're in it. So a lot of people have asked me that, can we, if a body shop, can we have a few spots in front of the body shop that are not 2 hours? They just need to go to the county and pay for those parking spots. I mean, and it's a very, very expensive issue to do that. You know what I mean? It's not an easy fix to try to do something like that. The bottom line is that Middlefield Road has been zoned for 2-hour parking, and that's what we'll enforce, and that's the way that it is.
yeah, any other questions for Lieutenant Reed?
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
I just want to say on the issue of the parking citations, from 492 in February up to 596 in March, I would entertain a motion from council that we put this to study session and to look at a possible getting a new kind of campaign going. So I don't know the last time that the council has done that, but I think it may be time that those numbers keep going up. And as far as getting information out about the street sweeping program, how it impacts the streets, but also those are not cheap tickets. I think it's like $40 a ticket now, something like that, 40 or 45. So anyway, I would entertain a motion that we bring this up in study session. Okay, thank you. Okay, all right. Is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Okay, thank you. So we're going to put this on agenda for the next study session? Thank you very much. California Highway Patrol. Captain Mike Maskarick. I hope I said that right.
Good evening, members of the council, members of the North Fair Oaks community. My name is Mike Maskrich. I'm a commander with the California Highway Patrol in the Redwood City area. Looking at the statistics of accidents from where we were at last year to where we're at this year, I'm pleased to report that we've seen a pretty good decrease. We were at, just for this community, we were at 9 last year, we were at 6 this year. However, we had a fatal accident that took place back on the 14th of this month out on Middlefield Road. A gentleman was crossing the street slightly before 2 o'clock in the morning when he was struck by a car. That particular event is still under investigation, so I can't speak specifically about that case, but what I can tell the members of the community and the council is, if you're going to cross the street, please stay in the crosswalks, particularly in the evening hours, because traffic is, even if it's not heavy on Middlefield Road, it's very, very difficult to see people that may be out in the roadway and having those crosswalks, particularly the lighted crosswalks. If you can at all use one of those crosswalks, the county worked very hard to get those put in place, and they greatly enhance safety. So the Highway Patrol, our partners with the Sheriff's Department and all public safety here in the area just want to make sure that you can be as safe as possible. You can go out and have a good time, but you have to be cognizant of the dangers that are out there, and particularly with traffic, that they always cannot see you. Even if you can see them coming, they're probably not going to be able to see you until they're right up on you. So, as I said, use those crosswalks. As Lieutenant Reed pointed out, we're going to be partnering with our partners with the San Mateo County Gang Task Force. CHP is part of that, so we'll be coming out in the community in that capacity as well. And as it was brought out during the supervisor report, we are working collaboratively for the Bike Safety Day. So we're looking forward to that event and doing what we can here to enhance the safety and viability of all people who work and live within the North Fair Oaks community to bring safety to the highest possible level. So with that, I'd like to thank you for your time and for offering me an opportunity to have my report.
All right. Any questions, council?
All right.
The
All right.
accident
Oh,
caused
shit.
because the person was not walking through the,
Well, as I say, I can't speak specifically to that case because we're not completed with our investigation, but what I can just tell you in general, just from when I drive up and down Middlefield Road, I see oftentimes many people who, if they're in the mid-block, they choose not to walk to, one of the corners and cross in the crosswalks. And, you might be tempted to do that on other streets in Redwood City where there's only one lane of traffic in each direction, but Middlefield Road, as you all know, is very, very wide. Once you get out in the middle of that road, you're really on your own, particularly if you're not in a crosswalk. And you have cars coming from both directions. You have multiple lanes of traffic. Drivers are easily distracted because of all the different, the businesses and different things going on. So when you're a pedestrian, I cannot emphasize enough that you really have to be aware of your own safety, your own surroundings, and try to leverage those to the greatest ability and use those crosswalks, use those areas that are lit, so that you're not putting yourself out there in the dark. Does that answer your question, kind of? Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Okay, North Fair Oaks Forward Report. Hello.
Hi, good evening, council members and North Fair Oaks community. My name is Ellie Dahlman, and I am part of the North Fair Oaks Forward Outreach and Engagement Team, promoting community involvement and future developments within North Fair Oaks. And specifically, we are working on the Middlefield Road redesign project. And we do acknowledge that a mistake was made regarding locations on the postcards, but we have corrected the information and distributed it on 50 posters throughout Middlefield Road and the entire community, as well as on 2,700 newsletters that have been distributed as well. And Ashley will update you on some other.
So additionally to the posters and flyers that we put up, today we went to Friendship Park and put a huge sign. So please check it out. It's at Berkshire and Huntington Avenue. Also follow us on Instagram or like us on Facebook, which you will get updates weekly on our activities that we do for outreach. And also just an update on our survey intake. We've received around 1,200 surveys, and if we're really, really looking forward to sharing those results with you all at the meeting. And we would love to see everyone at our meetings, which is this Saturday from 10 to noon in Garfield Elementary School, and also Tuesday here at 6:30 till 8:30. So either one, you can come and attend, and you'll have the chance to win an iPad mini and other really great prizes, and you have to be present to win. And in regards to your question, Linda, we had preliminary meetings with business owners, and those results have been inputted and are currently getting displayed on our PowerPoint and also on our community meeting. So we'll be sharing those results with you all this upcoming week.
All right. Well, thank you very much. And are there flyers back there for people for the meetings coming up on Saturday next week?
Yes, we can put some out there.
Oh, okay.
I can grab some from my car.
Just in case someone got missed. you
Yeah.
know.
And also, in regards to the health center, the county is still in discussion with attorneys regarding the completion of the parking lot. But the project, as soon as it resumes, it will be completed within 2 to 3 months. In terms of the crosswalks there in front of the health center, we have received approval from Samtrans, PUC, and Union Pacific, and I believe installation began, I'm not sure when, but I saw some people working out there today on some walkways there, but that should be completed at latest by June. And also the library and the Human Services Agency staff are reviewing plans to expand the library. It will be a possibility of being almost double the current size. Upon approval of the detailed design, a cost estimate will be developed and presented for approval as well.
All right, good.
So does the council have any other questions for us at the moment?
I don't think so. No, thank
Great.
you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda, we're going to have an update on the Sims metal fire.
Yes, good evening, Chairperson Lopez, council members, and ladies and gentlemen. Jim Polisi, Fire Marshal, Redwood City Fire Department. On behalf of City Manager Robert Bell and Fire Chief Jim Skinner, thank you for inviting us. I'm going to give you a little update on where we're at with the Sims fire and our post-fire analysis and the program that we're working with Sims Metal Management for the reduction to reduce any potential incidents from occurring again of that magnitude. And also to give you another update on some fire prevention activity occurring in the North Fair Oaks. To start with, the Sims, post-Sims fires, we've been working very diligently with Sims Metal Management on a what we're calling a ground to pile to ground each day to reduce any potential stockpile of the waste material. So at the end of each day, our battalion chiefs are going by the job site and making sure that Sims is adhering to the policy procedures that were outlined by the City of Redwood City. This grind to ground policy means that there is no material left there for any potential fire occurring. Furthermore, we've been working with Sims on long-term fire prevention safety measures to enhance the early warning detection of potential fires, as well as security in and around the site in conjunction with the Redwood City Police Department. So our process is going very well. We're very pleased with what Sims has brought to the table, and we have another meeting with them coming up next week on additional measures. So I'll take any questions regarding Sims now if you have any, and then we'll discuss the remainder.
The early detection.
Yes.
That's something new for them? Is that a new?
There's newer technology that's out. And what it basically entails is that it is an infrared system that's able to detect increased temperatures. So if there is a pile there during their normal business hours and the infrared detection picks up an increased amount of heat activity, it will sound the alarms and allow us to know that there's a fire in the early stages.
And the alarm goes, are you
The
connected
alarm goes to
that?
their site. No, it goes to their site.
okay.
And in turn, they notify us via 911.
Oh, okay.
It's military-style technology that has finally been declassified for civilian use.
Interesting.
So it definitely will pick up the fire in the incipient stage when it's, really well buried.
Okay.
Any further questions on Sims?
Would you like to just ask the question? Yeah.
Yes.
Contamination because of the water that was used to put out the fire. Is your agency responsible for checking on the water quality, or is that the Bay Area Water Quality Board?
Well, that's a very good question. And Sims.
Okay, excuse
Yes.
me, let me repeat. So your question, Janet, is around the air quality?
No, the water quality, because Sims had poorly designed their facility so that when a fire occurred, the effluent went into the bay, which is adjacent to the Bear Island Refuge, and the water was severely polluted. So I'm asking the fire person here whether his responsibility entails that, or whether that's specific to the Bay Area water quality.
Okay, I understand.
Okay, I understand.
Yes.
Let me explain. At the Sims site, they have what they call water retention ponds. One of them is 1.2 million gallon capacity, and the second one is 2.1 million gallons. So for a little over 3.3 total million gallons of water can be retained if there's a fire out there. So to answer your question, we did not detect any pollutants from the firefighting operations. That water was actually taken into the retention ponds, and Sims had it then removed from site. So there was, to the best of our knowledge, and it was looked at by Fish and Game as well as other regulatory agencies, no pollutants were found or traces of it in the bay waters. Okay? That's something that I think a lot of people didn't understand, that the
Yeah.
Sims site does have retention ponds,
Right.
which are very important, and it assists in firefighting
There were actually a lot of
operations.
concerns about that.
Sure,
I
and
heard that,
rightly so. With any fire, people need to understand that water's going to be used, there's going to be runoff, where's it going to go? Is it going to go into the storm drains? Well, for hazardous use occupancies such as Sims, because let's face it, it's a recycling center, they have retention pond systems, water recycling capabilities. Okay?
All right. Well, thank you very much for all your information.
You're welcome. And the last point is I want to bring up regarding, we've been receiving complaints of fireworks use in the North Fair Oaks.
Yes.
And please pass on to your constituents that all types of fireworks are illegal. In Redwood City, San Mateo County, certain areas of San Mateo County do permit fireworks, and that's Pacifica and San Bruno, but only during the 4th of July holiday season. Other than that, any fireworks are outlawed in the Redwood City, North Fair Oaks area.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, the Sheriff's Department
Yes,
did
they have. They've
report
been
back.
very good.
They did report to council and the
Perfect.
public last month.
And we will
I
be
don't know
stepping
this-
up our patrol efforts as well.
It's good to know.
Okay?
Oh, John.
Yes, sir.
Yes, one question, Fire Marshal. Is, in terms of community notification systems, it seems that that's a technology that is getting better but can still be improved. Are there things that you took away and learned from the Sims fire that will be applied to community notification systems?
That is a very good question, and I can tell you from our experience that social media a lot of times beats us to the punch before we're able to get the message out. But our local law enforcement, the Redwood City Police Department, San Mateo County Sheriff's Office, their public information officers work closely with us in disseminating information when it needs to go either locally or regionally, but it always must go through the Office of Emergency Services beyond our county. So when a word gets out, and a lot of times the press is able to pick up on some of our incidents, they may tweet something or whatever, get it out there social media, and it's even before we're able to send something out. So yes, we are learning about disseminating information a little bit more precise and promptly in the early stages of the incident. But for example, the Sims fire and the sheet metal plant fire, incidents like that, they escalate rapidly. So your incident is changing continuously. So when we send information out, we may have to send additional information within 30, 40 seconds. So staying on top of it is important for us. And as the Redwood City Fire Department Public Information Officer is part of my duties, that's one thing that we try to allow our local media outlets to understand is, if you hear something, clear it first through us before you pass it on, because we don't want the community given false information. Because we were told that there were shelter-in-place orders given and for a couple of the incidents, and that was never the case. They were recommendations, but they were not orders. There's a big difference.
And is there a reverse 911 system?
Yes,
in this
there is.
area?
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Actually, excuse me, what is reverse 911?
Oh, okay, thank you. Well, that's a very good question. Reverse 911, if there is, say I'm going to pick, if there was 3 blocks around us, and if the phone system is set up for reverse 911 for an area, say, the Fair Oaks Community Center, and there was an incident here. We are able to, through our dispatch system, through OES, able to initiate a reverse 911 where if the people have a landline at their home, that a pre-recorded or whatever message needs to be disseminated will be sent to that address or area of addresses. So if the people are home, they're able to pick it up. There's also, through San Mateo County Office of Emergency Services, you can sign up for the code red announcements via your cell phones.
Okay.
So there are ways, and I recommend through Supervisor Slocum's office as representative, it probably would be a good idea to have the San Mateo County Office of Emergency Services make a presentation here to the council.
Okay. Oh, very good.
Okay?
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the 91 Loyola Avenue project, or proposed, expansion, actually, rezoning for
Yes.
expansion.
And Linda, before we get started,
Yes.
as I live on Loyola, As I live on Loyola, it's my understanding I need to both recuse myself from voting on this particular issue and actually leave the room during the discussions based on word from the county council's office.
Okay, you must. Thank you, John.
Good evening. My name is Stephen Rosen. I work for the County Planning Department. I'm here to present this item. It's a rezoning of this parcel from R2 S50 to planned unit development, and then a subdivision to create 4 lots, and where the result of the project would be 4 single-family homes on individual lots, where there's currently 1 single-family house. We're here to get the North Fair Oaks community and community council's thoughts on the project so that we can incorporate them into our staff analysis and then forward the comments to the Planning Commission and Board of Supervisors, who are the ultimate decision makers for the project. The process for this would be first we will get the thoughts of the community, and then I will be analyzing the project for its conformance to the general plan and analyzing its environmental impacts to the area and region. And then I will present my analysis to the Planning Commission, who will make a recommendation to the Board of Supervisors, who will decide whether or not to rezone the parcel and approve the subdivision. The rezoning is required because the Planned Unit Development District is a zoning district that allows the Board of Supervisors to create custom rules for a particular site that would allow development there to accomplish the goals and policies of the general plan. The general plan designation for this site is multifamily, 24 to 60 dwelling units per acre, due to the North Fair Oaks Community Plan that was recently approved. The project would result in 9.3 dwelling units per acre. The current zoning, R2S50, two-family residential or duplex, requires a minimum lot width of 50 feet. The proposal provides a lot width of 50 feet, so that conforms. It requires a 20-foot front setback from the street property line. This project provides that. And 5-foot side setbacks. This project provides those setbacks to the exterior side property lines adjacent to the existing houses. And it also requires a 20-foot rear setback, which this project also provides. The maximum height in the R2 S50 district is 3 stories, 36 feet. This project proposes 2 stories at 28 feet. The parking requirements for single-family houses are 2 covered spaces per unit. This proposal provides 2 covered spaces per unit and one off-street guest parking space per unit for a total of 4 guest parking spaces uncovered for the entire project. The maximum lot coverage currently allowed is 50%. This project proposes about 30%, and the minimum area per dwelling unit currently is 2,500 square feet. This project proposes about 4,700 square feet. However, the PUD rezoning is required because the minimum lot size in this district is 5,000 square feet. This project proposes lot sizes of between 4,500 and 4,900 square feet. So resulting in the planned unit development requirement. Additionally, the planned unit development zoning district allows exception from the subdivision ordinance, which does require each lot to have direct access to a street. This project provides access to the houses in the rear via a private drive that is shared among all of the units. The private drive is has only one curb cut. And now I'd like to let the applicant present their project, or the applicants present their project to the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And
Okay.
I'll hand it over to Mr. Tom Pye.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Tom Pye. I want to thank you, Madam Chairman, and the committee for allowing us a chance to talk about our project. As Mr. Steve Rosen overviewed, we're seeking a rezoning so we can build 4 single-family homes on Loyola Avenue. Each home will be 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, with a 2-car garage. As mentioned, there is going to be additional off-street parking so that we can minimize the parking impact on the street there. Before I go a little deeper in the project, I want to introduce the team who will also be part of this as well. First, I'll introduce my wife, Brenda Pye, who's going to be the project management on this particular project. Also, Benjamin McGriff, who's the principal architect, and he will come up here and provide a little more detail and color to the houses we have in development. So by the way, this is some computer renderings of the finished project, neighborhood now and before and after, and also some specific plans to the houses. So so we put these up, so certainly welcome the community and the council to study them further either now or later on and provide any comments or questions regarding the project. We're happy to address them. And also the last person I want to introduce is Mr. Mark Hazeloop. Mark is our land use consultant. He is helping us guide us to develop the appropriate zoning rules that will govern the planned unit development, that will conform to the county rules, general plan, but also to the character and the appropriate use in this neighborhood. Okay. So again, the reason we're seeking rezoning is because the current lot, as it stands, what we are allowed to do is subdivide the lot in 2 and build a duplex on each unit. So for a total of 4 units. So the 4 units we're seeking is actually permissible, but under the current rules, the units cannot be sold as individual units. They would have to be sold as duplexes, which are similar to the ones across the street from where they exist at 88, 90, 92, and 94 Loyola. And those are currently rental units, presently rented out to students. By allowing the rezoning and subdivision, we will be able to build single-family homes on there, which we think is the best fit for the neighborhood. Let's see here. As we all know from you've read about in the general plan in the Bay Area 2050 initiative, there's a tremendous need to build additional housing in this market. I think every community is mandated to deliver additional housing units as part of the plan. So in looking at the neighborhood, it's an ideal location to add some additional housing, but we think it's important that whatever is developed fits the neighborhood. And we strongly believe that single-family homes geared towards families is the right fit for this neighborhood. So I'm going to turn over to Benjamin now, and he'll give you a little bit more color and information about the architecture and the plan for the development.
Good evening. My name is Benjamin McGriff of McGriff Architects. When Tom and Brenda originally approached us, they were very clear with the brief for this project. They wanted to create vibrant new homes to attract today's families. Their local experience and market research led them to the conclusion that the best way to attract families to the area was to provide 4-bedroom, 3-bath homes with a 2-car garage. Our job as their architect was to test their desired program against the site, making sure that we could reasonably and graciously accommodate these homes, given the setbacks and prevailing zoning regulations in place. And moreover, to generally make sure that our design harmonized with the existing scale and spirit of the neighborhood. By way of quick description of the new homes, as mentioned, each of the 4 homes are compact 2-story homes with 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, and 2-car garage. House 1 and 2 mirror images of one another. At the front of the site are 1,880 square feet. Houses 3 and 4 mirror images of one another. At the rear of the site are 1,810 square feet each. The homes are envisioned as being in the California English cottage style, with light plaster exteriors, dark wood trim, and dormers. Each home has a private yard and provides ample off-street parking. The private drive serving these 4 homes will feature masonry pavers that will be both attractive and functional.
Thank you, Benjamin. I want to tell a little bit about who we are and what we're doing. So I'm a lifelong resident of Menlo Park. I went to Menlo Athearn High School, went to UC, and where I studied engineering, and back where I grew up, basically. I literally live a mile and a half from where I grew up. So I've been here my entire life. And really, that really does drive the way we think about how we develop projects. The way we think about it is we are building homes for our existing and future neighbors. We live in the community. I've been here my whole life. We plan to be in the community for a very, very long time. So we really do care about the type of impact we're making on the neighborhood in terms of the kind of housing we're going to build, the kind of feel that the neighborhood will have, and our potential impact on that. And these are all very important. You know, whether we want to or not, I expect whoever lives in these homes are people I'm going to see on the street, in the grocery store, as we're going through our daily lives. So I will see them. I have to be proud of what we did and have to feel that we did a good job and served their neighborhood really well in terms of the impact we had in developing these homes. So then that's just the way that drives the way we do it. I also want to, before I conclude, I want to address some questions that I know have come up already in our discussions with neighbors about things. So number one is the parking impact. I know that that area, parking is a big issue. We heard a lot more about that today. And so as we described, there's 2-car garages plus 4 off-street parking total. So for a total of 12 off-street parking spots for this project. So we feel like we went to great pains to make sure that there would be ample parking so that we would not create more on-street parking in that neighborhood. That was a very important goal for us. Other thing that came up was people asked about trees. So this is something that we actually looked at. On the property, in the adjacent property, there are a couple of very large heritage oaks in the tree. And if you look at the designs, you'll see that we went out of the way to provide ample breathing room for those trees, so those trees will be healthy. Right now, the way the current property, there's actually asphalt pavement all the way to the root of the tree, which we had an arborist come and look at and basically said this is very unhealthy for the tree, and the trees themselves actually show some signs. So one of the things we're going to do is we're going to remove the asphalt and create more dirt and open air around the base of the trees so the roots of the trees can breathe. That was something that the arborists really emphasized, something that's really important. And we really built the design of the house, especially the 2 rear units, to really accommodate that, to really enhance the health of the trees. I don't know if you saw, there was a note about the removal of 3 trees. Right. These are 3 fruit trees that are on the property, 1 in front of the existing house and 1 and 2 sort of on the driveway. So these are fruit trees, so they're not considered major trees or heritage trees. So those will be removed, but our landscaping plan calls for several new trees to be planted as part of the development, along with a use of native and low water plants as part of the landscaping. So we have engaged a landscaping architect to help us plan out the trees and the landscaping. So again, to hit the two goals of native plants, low water, to try to enhance the neighborhood as well. Another issue that's come up is the water runoff and the issue. During the pre-application meeting, that came up as a concern for the neighborhood. So the actual design requirements of this project, as required, says that we cannot produce more runoff onto the street than already exists. So we have already had a lot of civil work done, and the water retention system that we've built will meet or exceed that goal in terms of that. Again, I don't know if I want to get into many details, but we're required to create essentially catch basins, which is built like gravel and rock, which allow natural water from rainstorms and whatnot to retain in there and slowly seep into the ground as nature intended, and so that there is no excess runoff onto that. So our engineer told us that basically, given what he saw and given what the plan he drew, that it's a zero to actually improved water runoff for the design of the civil design. The other thing I want to mention is the street and curb. So one question came up: so will we put a sidewalk in there? Our original intent was actually to put sidewalks in the property, but after talking to Department of Public Works, they actually recommended that we do not. So what they told us was that. I think Mr. Steve Rosen may have mentioned that they are planning to repave that street. I think it's 2017, 2016, but fairly soon. But the actual design of the street and the runoff is undetermined. They have not done the studies. They have not done all the neighborhood polling they usually do as part of the repaving project. And so they basically said whatever you put in will likely have to be removed regardless after they finalize the plan. So they actually strongly recommend we do not do that. And so we will do the appropriate landscape and transition to the street in order to keep it nice and neat and not with a combination of other pavement and landscaping. But they actually said they strongly suggest that we do not put in the curbs and sidewalks in there as part of the development. Yeah, so that's it. And again, to emphasize, the plan we have in the works and the engineering plan is to have no impact on the runoff onto the street, which is very important in that neighborhood. So, in conclusion, again, I want to thank the council for reviewing our plans and study our proposal, and we hope that you will make a recommendation to approve to the County Board of Supervisors to approve our rezoning request. Okay, and I'm happy to answer any questions from the council regarding our project.
Well, actually, I have a question for Steve Rosen. You could stay there.
Sure.
And Steve, so were there, you did your regular 500 feet within the project type of notification amongst the Loyola, the neighborhood. And so I know that you referred to some of the concerns that the neighbors had. Was there anything else that came up around a concern about this project?
At the pre-application meeting, there was concern about.
Can you come up to the podium so we can hear you? Thank you.
At the pre-application meeting, there was concern about parking, of course, and there was also concern about runoff on the street because it has not been improved yet. So that is not exactly related to the project, but the runoff, the flows of the water down the street into or out of the neighborhood during storms, like Mr. Pai said, the Department of Public Works anticipates that they would be resurfacing the street on 2017, and they don't yet know the configuration of the street, but they will be improving it. The other concerns were for the large heritage oak trees, which their design will preserve.
and for
And
the runoff off the
the actual
site.
trees that are going to be removed are the,
Are small, they're not,
proposed to be
they're
removed are
smaller,
the
smaller
fruit
trees,
trees.
fruit species trees, yes.
I'm sorry, I don't have all the detail in front of me. What's the, if this goes the way you want it to go, what's the timeline for the project? The start, anticipated start?
Well, may I answer that? After this meeting, I would take your recommendations and then do the analysis, write the report to the Planning Commission. We expect that to expect that to go to hearing within 2 or 3 months. And then after that, it would be another month or two till the Board of Supervisors would make a decision.
Oh.
And then after that, I would defer to the applicant for their expectation of preparing their plans and submitting them.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Do you have enough information? I don't know. The North Fair Oaks Council got some emails with concerns regarding the parking, the narrow streets, basically all the impact that this project would have on infrastructure. And it's like, why would you do the project first and not deal with the infrastructure first? That type of thing, as opposed to dealing with it after the fact. That was pretty much the gist of the concerns that I saw. And did you actually have a number of people respond to your notification?
Not for this meeting. They did not respond to me. There were,
Okay.
the pre-application meeting had many attendees who expressed the concerns that they have sent to you.
Okay. So what's your, do we want to get more, do we need more information?
No, I think that, the concerns have been addressed. We've seen other projects like this that weren't as well planned out and thought out. I think it's a good project.
I'm not really clear how the issue about the water runoff is going to be resolved.
Well, it's called a curtain drain, kind of.
Oh.
They can put a gravel kind of ditch around the property.
And that's
so
going to
that-
prevent the,
Right, there's some.
that prevents it?
There's some detail in the plan.
I know, I
yes.
got a lot of.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I got a big packet.
Yeah, we erred on,
Schematics and-
honestly, a lot of the stuff that we presented to the board some of it was actually in excess of what's required to present.
Mhm.
But we have spent a lot of time and a lot of effort to really think through this project and address the issues up front that we feel are important. And drainage is one of them. So the way it works is that we essentially dig these big pits, which are filled with gravel and other rock, which has a lot of sort of airspace, which allows water to essentially seep in, and the landscaping is designed to channel the water into these what's called retention areas. And then this is actually underneath landscaping, so it's actually not completely it's not really visible to just you looking at it, but it's all there. And these are they're huge. They're really huge. And I can't recall the specific engineering, but it's meant to hold quite a bit of water in there. I think that there's actually a standard, I think in terms of, I forget the exact answer, but it's like a 10-year, 20-year, 30-year, 40-year flood. There's a standard actually that we have to adhere to. So it's not just it's above and beyond what is expected in a sort of a quote-unquote average year. It's actually a standard above that. So that's why we feel like from the perspective of the neighbors, they should actually see no difference or possibly even less runoff depending on how much water is out there. Because, having grown up around here, I know the soil here has got a lot of clay, so it doesn't drain well, and that's why there is a problem. And I'm very familiar with that. So, you know, we were, you know, it was important for us to address that. So that's why there's a voluminous detail.
And are the units for purchase or for rent?
For purchase.
For purchase.
One of the reasons that we wanted to do this rather than duplexes,
Mhm.
duplexes, because the economics, typically a duplex doesn't, the resale value is not as good. And so they end up being rental units like the ones across the street. We specifically did not want to do that. So we essentially had two choices. One was to build single-family homes or seek even perhaps higher density and build more townhouse-type structures. We felt that townhouses were not a good fit for the neighborhood. Rather, single-family homes were a good fit, and those are going to be more likely to attract families, which we feel is a good fit for the neighborhood.
Okay. Any other information anyone needs? I will say that most of the concerns that council got through their website, through email, it's not opposing the project. It's though making sure that all of the other issues are dealt with first and not doing something before you deal with all the other issues on
Right.
the infrastructure side
Right.
of it.
And,
So it's not that there was an opposition that I saw to the actual, development, but just so that everything else is fixed.
Right, we've certainly looked at the neighborhood, and I made a special effort during the few rainstorms we've had this year
yeah.
to go down the street to take a look at the drainage issues, and certainly even in the modest rain we've had this year, they're absolutely there. And from our perspective, we would love to have it be fixed concurrent or even before we begin our project, but unfortunately, that is not something that's in our control. We're happy to do what we can in the meantime to address those concerns and certainly and make those as best as we can.
Okay, thank you very much.
So do we have to ask for approval?
Okay, if there's no other questions or need for more information, can I entertain a motion on the recommendation?
I'll motion that we support the 4-lot subdivision and planned unit development rezoning at 91 Loyola Avenue.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I second.
Okay, and I'm sorry, just point of information, we are off by one person on our quorum. No, you're. Okay. Okay, excuse me, I'm always off on that number. Okay, so we have a motion to support the rezoning for the 4 single-family homes at 91 Loyola Avenue. We have a second. Any further discussion?
I just had a
Yes.
comment. I don't mind about the building of the new units, but the beauty of the neighborhood is disappearing little by little. I would rather see what it is now, not to see any changes, even though you're the building up to code and everything, you're going through the rules and. But I still would like to keep the land as it is.
And I agree that character neighborhood is very, very important. And that's one of the reasons we chose to do single-family homes. We feel like that fits a very good fit with the current neighborhood, and it brings, it preserves the family feel and the family residence in the neighborhood is a very good fit for that. And that's why we chose to do single-family homes for exactly the reasons that you mentioned. We feel like our project is an excellent fit for that goal.
I'm surprised why not, most of the neighbors are conformed with the decision you guys made.
Oh.
But,
Okay, well, so that's all we can do. Any further discussion on the motion? No. Okay. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much.
And thank
for
you
all
very
the
much.
information and your presentation.
Thank you.
And good luck.
Thank you very much.
And I just have a little suggestion. Those fruit trees that you're going to extract, can you just put them somewhere else? I mean, I don't know I really don't know about trees. I don't know, once you take them out, are they dead or what? I don't know, but
It's,
if you
it's
can.
always uncertain.
Oh, I have no, okay.
Trees are like,
I
they're
mean-
living things, and replanting anything is very difficult, especially the trees are very big. They have very extensive root systems. I've tried doing that before, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, unfortunately.
If you're able to save them though and are not going to use them, can you put some kind of a message out to the community, or that we can, if somebody else wants those trees, so we don't lose the trees?
I love that
So
suggestion,
we
thank
put
you.
them somewhere else.
Great suggestion,
Okay.
I love it. Thank you.
All right, thank you. You would go through Supervisor Slocum's office?
Okay.
For real, okay?
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. Okay. Save the tree. Okay, recommendations for approval of, we have two recommendations before the council. Illegal dumping and CSA 8. Both of those issues, the council has had study committees set up to study illegal dumping, and it was the task of that committee to come up with a recommendation on how to prevent illegal dumping in North Fair Oaks. And the second committee was around the CSA 8 funds that are available for North Fair Oaks, and that recommendation will also be presented. Let's see, you have the recommendation for illegal dumping in your packet. Who's going to report, who likes to report on this?
Do you want to do it?
It's a very lengthy, my gosh. So probably at least, you want to do that, John?
Sure.
Okay, thank you.
And I won't speak nearly as extensively as the document. However, we believe that littering and illegal dumping in North Fair Oaks are significant issues that will require a significant number of programs and activities to get it under control, and that we have made a set of recommendations that would include signage in appropriate locations. We believe there's an opportunity to work particularly with the Sheriff's Department in coordinating surveillance cameras to hopefully catch illegal dumping in progress. We believe that without reinventing things ourselves, that there's an opportunity to adopt stricter regulations related to both dumping and littering, and there are a collection of documents taken from other communities to highlight the kind of increased regulatory action we believe would help. And then we think there's also an opportunity for education in the schools. The county is beginning to work on a reporting system that would make it easier for citizens to quickly notify the county of illegal dumping activity, and will hopefully result in more responsive cleanup. So we believe that North Fair Oaks has a real problem in this area, and through this recommendation, hope that the county will allocate
significant resources to helping us work on that in a broad fashion.
I think that we have someone that has a question regarding, is it regarding the illegal dumping recommendation? Okay, Janet, why don't you go up to the podium, please? What's your question?
I just find this very irritating. This group hasn't had an original idea since Manuel and I were working on this 2 years ago. The signs are just plain stupid. They're an attraction to people dumping. 180 Buckingham is a prime example. As soon as the sign went up, mattresses came there. I drove past tonight, there's yet more mattresses. Even this group couldn't even get the sign right. They had the wrong code number there. You're talking about a surveillance camera. Manuel and I got cameras ordered 2 years ago, and they promptly went to East Palo Alto. You're talking about a camera that's probably going to get shot out the first night it's put up. There's another outfit that has a practically bulletproof camera that's $5,000 that has a voice-activated alarm also, and they'll do a free demo. I have a whole list of other suggestions that I gave to Warren that are going to work a whole lot better than this. To have citizens reporting on dumping is asinine. You need the police to do it. Citizens aren't going to do it. And I just think that this dumping committee has been completely useless. I'm sorry, but that's how I feel. This is one of the brochures.
Okay, you actually leave me that brochure. Okay, thank you, Janet. Okay, other committee members, do you want to add any other information to the recommendation? No? No. Okay. Why don't, actually, I can do the CSA 8. No, let's finish with this one. Well, what's the pleasure of the council? There is a recommendation. I think some of the comments that we heard from Janet Davis, I think those, I think some of what you said could be worked into some of this recommendation. And if it's about equipment, then it's possible. I mean, there's a specific piece of equipment that's part of the recommendation, the installation. And if we need to look at other types of equipment, I don't see that as a problem. It would still be part of the recommendation. But the whole issue is that the installation of cameras be part of the whole overall plan to fight the illegal dumping. So that's why I wanted to get this, but anyway. Yeah, if you're going to ask questions or make comments, I prefer you to go up to the podium. Thank you.
One other thing that's pretty significant is the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony. And this old stuff from Mississippi, which is about 10 years old, talks about 500 pounds of garbage being a felony. It's not so much the bulk of something that constitutes the expense. It's the cost to get rid of it. If, for example, you have a piece of asbestos, or you have an unnamed substance, or something like that that's going to cost an awful lot to dispose of, it could be this big, but that could constitute a felony. If you have a felony, there are all kinds of ramifications. If you are caught committing a felony versus a misdemeanor. One is deportation. There are vehicle code provisions. If you use a truck to dump garbage, your truck gets taken. There are all kinds of things that you haven't even looked at, and it makes me mad.
Okay. Thank you for your comments. Does anyone have any other questions regarding the Illegal Dumping Committee recommendation? Would someone like to motion? If there's no other discussion on this recommendation, I'll entertain a motion. John?
Yes, I move that we endorse the committee recommendations and pass them on to Supervisor Slocum and the Board of Supervisors.
Okay. Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, Esperanza. Okay, any further discussion on the motion?
Go on and add, like this, it does say
Piece.
in the written recommendation, recommends looking at a certain camera.
Right.
Maybe we could include along with that, this, look at this one as well.
Oh, yes, I'm fine with looking at a good camera broadly as opposed to a specific camera.
Okay.
Okay. All right, so the motion then, actually, you do have language in there that's somewhat, it says, if effective, use of additional cameras in the future. I don't think you need to change your motion, but we can also pass this information on to the supervisor. Okay, so the motion is to accept the recommendation. I have a motion, I have a second. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion carries to accept the illegal dumping committee recommendations. And thank you, Janet. We're going to also, some of the comments that you made will also be part. It's not an overnight fix, but I think it's a good start and to keep it going. Keep it going. Okay. So the next recommendation is regarding the CSA 8 surplus fund allocation. A committee of council has been meeting over the last couple of months regarding the use of CSA money, or funds rather. And so the recommendation, and I'm sorry you don't have this in your packet, so I'm just reading from my copy. It's a 5-part recommendation. The first, number one, is to fund a community education, public awareness campaign to improve passive stormwater drainage measures. And under that recommendation, to partner with San Mateo County Public Works to identify resources and supplement existing programs, establish a plan and timeline and implement pilot program. And we're actually recommending $100,000 towards that. Number two, fund a community education public awareness campaign to address storm drain issues and compliance. Partner again with San Mateo County Public Works to identify resources, potential nonprofit consultants, establish plan, timeline, and implement pilot program. And that recommendation is for $100,000 also. Number three, fund inner neighborhood street tree and mini park beautification project. Partner with the planning department, NFO Planning Department / North Fair Oaks Community Plan, Public Works, street improvement, to identify resources, target locations, and coordinate neighborhood tree plantings in county street easements, Target locations and coordinate neighborhood tree plantings in county street easements and planned mini parks. Partner with county parks and recreation and neighborhood groups to help support and maintain mini and existing pocket parks throughout North Fair Oaks. Number four, fund educational outreach campaign for illegal dumping. So with this, we want to support the recommendations from the Illegal Dumping Committee to raise awareness to prevent illegal dumping and littering. And each of these items, we're recommending $100,000. And the final recommendation is to reallocate the funds that are currently used for the annual North Fair Oaks Middlefield Road Fair. The committee did not see that as a priority program in the overall picture to improve North Fair Oaks. So the recommendation is to reallocate approximately $20,000 budgeted from CSA 8 for this fair to support the community outreach work of the North Fair Oaks Community Council. And that is the recommendation from the committee. Questions?
Would you repeat the last one, the last recommendation?
Yes. To reallocate the $20,000 that has historically been used towards the North Fair Oaks Middlefield Road Fair,
For the festival?
to reallocate it, to move it so that it supports the work of the North Fair Oaks Council. We don't have a budget, and this was, I think, important that we reallocate the funds. And over the years, the fair has been pretty much picked up by the Sheriff's Department. And so, it's not that we don't support the fair. No, we support the fair. But as far as using these monies for that, the recommendation is to reallocate it. And the fair will continue. That's not going to stop. Does that
Yes,
answers your question?
Thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions or need for information? No? Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll motion that we support the recommendation of the CSA 8 committee.
Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, John, second. With any further discussion? No? Okay, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? No. Okay, motion carries. Thank you very much. I think that is it for a meeting. Motion to adjourn?
I motion to adjourn the meeting.
Okay,
I'll second.
all right. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming out tonight. Thank you.